I must speak with Morgana to go where she wishes. The living flesh poses a hindrance, but I must go for our aura.
There might have been a 2-month gap between the releases of Infection and Mutation, but for Kite and Black Rose and Mistral, they were only comatose for 5 minutes after encountering Kubia. After coming to, Kite and Black Rose log back in and receive flash mails from Mistral expressing her enjoyment in the event and that she wants to do it again. Bless her heart. Black Rose also reaches out to Kite, expressing her worry. She thought getting rid of Skaith would be the end of it, but now she's not so sure. Did they do the right thing? Aside from that, the world has been updated to the version 2.90, with a new feature added, Grunty Racing. In the news outlet, rumors of games causing comas are still circulating and are being debunked by university professors and CC Corp alike, while the coma victims are showing no signs of recovery. Back on the forums, rumors begin to circulate about a virus accompanied by screen noise that some players have reportedly heard. Personally, the more I think about it, I think that noise was Kubia's roaring, but I'm not sure if there's any way to prove that. Another thread talks about an era called the Twilight of the New Gods that ensued after an incident called Pluto's Kiss, an incident that occurred back on Christmas Eve of 2005. That day, every connected computer across the network crashed all at once. Not just that, but every communication network system and power grid system also suffered catastrophic crashes across the world. Making matters worse, the U.S. nuclear defense systems also were affected by the crisis, which caused them to malfunction and become armed as if the U.S. were under a nuclear attack threat. This whole crisis lasted only 77 minutes, and the cause was a virus created by Warren Brock, a 10-year-old kid living in LA. Computers running on the Ultimate OS, however, were the only systems not affected. This resulted in the Twilight of the New Gods, a 2-year period where the internet traffic and usage were bottlenecked and made available only to governmental and business use. Basically, a digital quarantine. Back in Dun Laurier, Kite and Black Rose returned to the area where they fought Skaith. On the way, they realize the dungeon, while still corrupted, is empty of monsters. They wonder if Skaith actually survived and if they could win against it again. When they do get to the penultimate floor, despite Black Rose being consumed by anxiety, Kite strikes up a conversation. They both admit that they're afraid, and they both agree that they can't let it stop them. When they get to the bottom, they take another pause. After an amusing exchange of Kite accidentally scaring Black Rose, he asks her why she's playing the game, but before she can answer, Balmung appears and demands an explanation. Black Rose rebuffs him, but Kite admits that he already told him a few days ago. Even so, Balmung believes that the group's involvement only makes things worse. Black Rose hates him, but Kite empathizes with them. He leaves and the group tries to progress further, but the way is permanently blocked. Arriving back in Dun Laurier, Kite's approached by a system admin who tells him that the prize he won from the power-up campaign is defective, and they exchange the Book of Law for the Book of Absolute. Kite tries to open the book and install it, and the same thing happens. A while later, Kite receives another flash mail from Aura. Apparently, even though she's been data drained and broken into segments, she's still very much alive, and she tells him to find her segments. He and Black Rose also both receive anonymous flash mails detailing possible information that could cure the coma victims. However, when they meet up at the requested area,
Hey! Hey, you! I got a suspicious email instructing me to come here. You get one too?
There's a clue to curing those who went into comas. That?
Yeah. Hold on a sec. That's weird. Look, I can't gate out. Oh, what was that sound?
I am Leos, the system administrator of the world. You have ignored our warnings and have gone too far. If the two of you hadn't interfered, then the situation would not have deteriorated.
You not only did nothing about the coma victims, but you also tried to cover up that fact. What about your actions?
Viruses that were spread by hackers caused a series of problems. If you want to blame someone, blame them.
Are you saying that if I blame someone, those who are in comas will awake and return to normal? Then, okay, sure. I'll accuse them all you want. Kazu's still in the hospital. Bring him back! Bring him back to normal! Bring him back!
We are currently investigating the relationship between the world and those who fell comatose. We are not twiddling our thumbs, I assure you. We're working on countermeasures. But aside from that, to take immediate action to prevent the situation from worsening, it requires that you delete your character.
Delete it? Why?
You should know that your character violates the software usage agreement. Installation of an illegal effect. You do know what I'm referring to. I will delete you now.
Wait a moment.
Helba!
Leos, do you want to be one of the lost ones as well?
What?
I wonder what would happen if the boy performed data drain, right here and now.
No way, I wouldn't do that.
I know, since you aren't stupid. The stupid one is this pig-headed man. You don't even understand how it works, yet you'll delete it before finding that out. Or do you even possess the ability to delete it in the first place? The boy's character data is so well protected, the system administrator can't even crack it. In spite of the fact that you developed a vaccine and disguised it as a rare item. Deleting those you cannot control is something that a pighead would do.
Can I say something? I really don't care what happens to this character data.
Hold on! Wait, what do you mean that you don't?
It's true. Like I've said before. I simply want to help my friend. And that's all I want to do. Helba, system administrator, I need your advice. What should I do?
I'm sorry, little boy, but I don't have the answer to your question. And I'm positive that Pighead there doesn't either. Although, if the design of this world was based upon writings in the epitaph of Twilight, it should provide you a clue.
Forget it.
Leos.
Yeah, what?
The code name given to a system administrator. Were you remotely aware that it's the name of the King of Lights that appears in the epitaph?
It is?
Silencing is not the only means of control. Why don't you observe them for a little while longer?
I won't take orders from you.
Orders? No, I'm only offering it as a suggestion. The net is spread throughout the world. If the problems escalate, can you accept responsibility? It's your decision.
The decision is put on hold. Later I'll tell you the outcome.
Later, eh? Till then.
Epitaph of Twilight.
We haven't got enough to go on so far. About the thing earlier. No, forget it. Well, so long for today.
Instead of silencing the assumed cause of the problem, Helba suggests that they continue observing Kite and his friends. If Kite isn't the culprit and Leos somehow gets rid of him and the situation worsens, can Leos accept responsibility? Quite the dilemma. One that Leos refuses to answer immediately and opts to respond at a later time. The next day, Leos sends him a flash mail stating that he begrudgingly agrees to liaise with Kite and his team, on the condition that they follow his orders. On top of that, the next server The Lambda server is now open and Kite should report there. Carmina Gadalica, same from Dothack Sign, the metropolis of the game. When Kite and Black Rose approach the weapons shop, Leos, having taken control of the shop clerk NPC, startles them and admonishes them for being late. His orders are for Kite and Black Rose to investigate the rate of infection on this server and gives Kite another virus core. Back on the forums, another thread is posted about a player claiming he's encountered a mysterious girl in a dungeon. There's another thread advertising a comedy show hosted by a player named Nuke Usagi Madu, and a thread posted by a player named Rachel hosting a trading convention. Logging in a few minutes later, Kite runs into Elk and Mia, the latter of whom is experiencing strange and unexplained speech issues. Kite tells him that he's going to the protected area posted on the forums, and Elk and Mia wish to go with them as Mia believes they'll find aromatic grass, their favorite item to collect. When they explore the dungeon, they don't find Aura, but another data bug instead. One data drain later, another virus core is obtained and a monster goes down. Elk also finds aromatic grass and gives it to Mia. This somehow restores Mia's speech. She then gives more cryptic and somewhat profound insight about futility when Kite wonders why they collect them. However, when they return to Root Town, her speech is corrupted once again. The next day, Black Rose and Kite see another post detailing information on another protected area. There are also a thread containing information about the epitaph of Twilight. We already know that it was an extremely popular web poem written by the famous web poet Emma Wieland. However, the website that hosted the poem was shut down before the poem was finished. Despite this, fragments of the epic managed to exist scattered across the network, including the stanzas Kite and Black Rose managed to find before. In fact, some of the recovered scraps get sold for incredible amounts of money by devoted fans. With Black Rose being elsewhere offline, Kite satiates his curiosity and attends the comedy show Nuke Usagi Madu is hosting. On his way, he runs into another mysterious player who doesn't say anything to him before leaving. However, just like Elk and Black Rose, this player looks almost just like Sora. Eventually, Kite reaches Nuke's show, the battle talk show where he narrates his technique while fighting a monster. It's not a successful showing, but you gotta love his enthusiasm regardless. Kite helps him defeat the monster, and the long-armed player gives him his member address as thanks. Not the best comedian, but he's still a genuinely entertaining guy, and he looks almost exactly like Krim. Next on the docket, Kite attends Rachel's trade convention, and Rachel asks Kite to help out by retrieving one of the requested items in the dungeon. He gets the item from the God statue and returns to help with the convention. With everyone satisfied, the convention is a success, and Rachel, looking almost exactly like a certain Blade Master character who forced Mikasa to babysit an infant Grunty, gives Kite her member address. Her stereotypical New York/New Jerseyan accent may be annoying at first, but she's a good player. Later on, Kite spends time with Gardenia. He knows that Gardenia likes to play in areas with flower-esque keywords and tries to inquire further, but she rebuffs him. Eventually, they arrive at the final room of monsters. When they kill them, Gardenia gives Kite the dropped item and expresses that the reason why she needed Kite's help is for revenge against the monsters that took her out previously. After the party disperses, Kite receives a surprise flash mail from Moonstone, the silent player whom Kite ran into before. He gives him his member address and invites him to help in an area. He's a player with not much to say aside from what he needs to be said. The strong silent type, short, sweet, and to the point. He's awesome and he's got a deep as hell voice. The goal of the area? Annihilate all monsters in the dungeon. Simple as that. They pose a challenge, but Kite's party makes it through. Satisfied, Moonstone leaves. A day later, Kite meets up with Black Rose and Mistrail, and the party gate hacks into the protected area posted on the forums. When they reach the deepest level of the dungeon, they find something strange, and I don't just mean a data bug. Normally, Kite is the only player able to access protected areas, yet somehow there's another player there. What's even weirder is that this player character looks really abnormal, as his body is covered in rectangular holes as if sections of his body were taken out. The player, Sheraton, doesn't seem to be too grateful about being saved either. In fact, his way of speaking is also really bizarre, as he asks if the player has the end. He then disappears when they are unable to comply. When Kite and Black Rose report to Leos, Leos believes it's just damaged data that are immune to area restrictions. Later on, Black Rose asks if obeying Leos is the right thing to do, and Kite just replies that they should follow along for now. Not like they have any other option, despite the feeling of being manipulated. A day later, before Kite logs in, Black Rose receives a virus core from Leos and passes it on to Kite. He forms a party with her and Elk and goes to a new protected area that Leos told him to investigate. According to Leos, this area is experiencing an abnormal increase in data volume. The last time this happened, they encountered something dangerous.
Oh no, what now?
That's it? That thing is the cause? It ran.
Are you a shadow or the real thing? Will you just make up your mind? It's as if the thing's playing tag with us, and now we're it.
Playing or not, I'll chase it.
Hey, you're not getting away!
The monster they fought before in the dungeon were just illusions. Now, it's the real deal. Kite, Black Rose, and Elk versus Innis, the Mirage of Deceit. It's a tough fight. Through a barrage of attacks from both sides, Kite eventually data drains the target and the party takes it down. This time around, unlike Scathe, Kite doesn't get a virus core. He gets one of Aura's broken segments instead. The fight ends, and yet it doesn't feel like a victory. Audio and visual static fills the area. Something's wrong. When the party returns to the root town, they see it's empty. They then report to Leos, who tells them that they were forced to shut down the game systems temporarily. Somehow defeating Innis caused more distortions. He orders them not to act until further notice and then leaves. Irritated, Black Rose sends a flashmail to Kite stating that she's decided to act without Leos' permission. I don't blame her. A few days later, Kite receives another corrupted flashmail from Aura, requesting his help in another area. She also delivers a warning to beware of Kubia. But what could that mean? Logging in the game, Kite runs into Mistrail at the Chaos Gate. When Kite tells her where she's going, she excitedly tags along. Kite invites Black Rose, and while preparing for the area, they see that the root town is strange. It isn't empty, but the player characters there are acting very bizarrely. They aren't moving and are saying very strange things. Perhaps the game isn't entirely back online yet. Regardless, the player goes to the area and they explore the dungeon. When they get to the deepest level,
was true, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
At any rate, this girl, she's beautiful, but I don't know how to say this, but she's not alive.
Kite, Black Rose, and Mistrael versus Kubia. Yet, this fight isn't like the fights with Skaith and Innis. In fact, the party can't directly attack the monster. Instead, a floating sphere containing a figure that looks like Kite appears. Apparently, this is Kubia's weak point, the Kubia core, accompanied by a swarm of smaller enemies called Gamoras. What makes matters even more different, it's impossible to data drain this new enemy. Requiring a similar yet different method of attack while enduring the monster's barrage of gargantuan attacks, the party endures the marathon and eventually succeeds in destroying the Kubia core, and Kubia itself retreats. The party is then greeted by Helba, who saw the fight from afar. She gives the party their next course of action. Simply put, they must release Aura from her imprisonment, as that will possibly save Orca. When they return to town, Mistrael apologizes for her naivete and gives Kite a new book for Kite to use. Looks like the game is back online as well. Back on the forums, a player named Morlo rudely and obnoxiously calls out Kite and demands a meetup with him alone in an area. He also receives flash mails from Natsume stating that when they next meet, she'll be 10 times stronger, whatever that means. Sanjiro also asks Kite's help in finding a rare sword in another dungeon, and Pyros asks for Kite in helping him get revenge against Mia for tricking him a few weeks ago. Oh boy. A few days later, Kite and Black Girls meet with Natsume in a dungeon. Apparently, there was a rumor on the forums about a special monster called the Level 10 Vine that, upon defeat, triggers her player's level to skyrocket by 10. Turns out that rumor was bogus, but Natsume still promises that she'll become stronger as she's learned that hard work will be worth it. She is best girl, and I will have no objections. Later on, Kite helps Sanjiro find the famous sword that he was looking for. When Kite goes to dungeon to meet Marlo later on, we see two players chastising Marlo for his callousness in his post. Who do they think they are, the Crimson Knights? Funnily enough, Marlo looks identical to Silver Knight. Marlo simply rebuffs him and proceeds into the dungeon. When Kite meets with him, Marlo is initially annoyed that Kite helps him with a monster, but then realizes Kite's the player he wanted to talk to. However, he forgets what he wanted to talk to Kite about and just gives him his member address instead. Well, that was interesting. Next on the docket, Kite accompanies Pyros in confronting Mia, but when they find her, she teases him by stating that she doesn't immediately remember him. Mia thought the item was funny, but then apologizes when Pyros expresses his displeasure. She then offers to give Pyros another rare item that Pyros claims to have heard of. Kite tries and fails to warn Pyros, and Pyros is once again humorously tricked, and his player character is altered again. But it'll be fine once he logs out and logs back in. Kite then asks why Mia targets Pyros in the first place, but she doesn't really know. A few days later, more chatter pops up on the forums about the rumors concerning players falling into comas. Elsewhere, more conversation about the epitaph of Twilight. According to the thread, it's a story about how a group of people prevented the end of the world by destroying something known as the Cursed Wave. Considering what Helba told them before about the poem, Black Rose pursues the commenter on the forum thread. While they wait, Kite ventures to another dungeon and finds A20 from Dothack's sign. Notice the similarity between her and Natsume. She asks if Kite knows about the golden grunty item as she collects them. Unfortunately, she's unable to continue searching as she's too weak to do so on her own. When they get to the God statue, they run into Mimiru. What a pleasant surprise. Of course, Kite is taken aback by her resemblance to Black Rose. She made it out to the dungeon hoping that she'd meet up with Bear, but then gets a last-minute message from him saying that he's changed his location. Oh well, it's not a total loss as she gives Kite a replica of her sword. Black Rose is gonna love it. Kite then receives a flash mail from Linda from before, detailing that Balmung was following Orca's trail before he fell comatose, and that he's investigating another strange room that he and Orca had found.
When the finger points to the yonder moon, the fool will not look at the fingertip.
It's you again.
I'm not going to argue with you. However, I have to know. Tell me what this thing that lurks within the world is.
It doesn't concern you.
Yes, it does. Balmung of the Azure Sky, Orca of the Azure Sea, aren't your goals the same? Isn't there a connection between the girl Aura and this disaster?
I don't want you to meddle any further. I'm telling you, do not get involved.
Yeah, too late for that. Upon logging out, Kite and Black Rose both receive new orders from the annoyed Leos, instructing them not to act. Yeah, whatever. Black Rose forwards to Kite a much more helpful flashmail she had received from the player who posted about the epitaph on the forums. Even though the player doesn't know more than what he said already, he suggests finding the player known as Wiseman, an information broker and voiced by the awesome Stephen Bloom. He may know more. They meet up with him in the dungeon, and Kite requests to learn what Wiseman knows about the epitaph. The shrewd negotiator that he is, while looking like a gender-swapped BT, states the price for the information by flashmail, to receive the rare Spark Sword from another dungeon. Easy enough, except for the fact that the area is protected, and that the monster that drops the Spark Sword just so happens to be a data bug. On their way back, they notice Balmung talking quietly to Leos. He instructs Balmung to give something to someone. When they return, Wiseman receives the item and honors his promise. But he also asks just who they are as the area was protected. He knew this and is intrigued by the party's ability to access it. Understanding, Kite explains the situation and Wiseman is grateful and even more interested. He gives them his member address and sends them the info on the Epitaph of Twilight while also giving back the Spark Sword. I'm not complaining, especially when Wiseman's info is a large stanza from the epitaph itself. According to the poem, the cursed wave isn't a literal wave, but a malevolent phenomenon composed of 8 evil entities: Skaith, Innis, Magus, Fidel, Gore, Maha, Tarvos, and finally Korbenik. They appeared one after the other in the poem, each of them contributing to the world's end in their own ways, related to their moniker. Skaith was the first, as it destroyed everything and everyone that crossed its path. Innis used its ability to create illusions to assist in the destruction. The third one, Magus, used its ability to duplicate the wave, further adding to the destruction. At this point, the party has defeated Skaith and Innis. Seems that Magus may be next. Wiseman also recommends that the players reach out to Helba in Netslum. Yes, that Netslum. Though Helba is the master of the place, she isn't willing to create a Helba gate to access it like before. Instead, they're given directions in the form of a riddle. Back on the forums, another player posts a thread about having found a strange character similar to Sheraton. The strange thing is, this is the first corrupted area that they can enter without gate hacking. The situation's deteriorating. When they get through the dungeon, they do find the strange character in question, just like Sheraton from before. This one looks like a regular player character, but parts of its body are sectioned out. The character, Playered, keeps asking strange and incoherent questions, yet they're able to extract some useful information from its rambling. An area related to Netslum. Unfortunately, they aren't able to get any more information as Leo suddenly appears from behind and cruelly deletes the character, dismissing it as digital garbage. He threatens the party with deletion if they don't obey his orders and stay put before leaving himself. Back in Carmina Gadelica, they run into Balmung, who's been waiting for them. He begrudgingly and coldly gives Kite a virus core. Regardless of the reason, they have a new virus core and a definite lead to Netslum. Kite, Black Rose, and Mistral gate hack into the corrupted area Playered mentioned, thinking that it's a type of access code. Black Rose speaks the phrase they were sent via flash mail to no success. She tries again upon entering the dungeon, again with no success. Frustrated, she leaves it to Kite. At first, it does seem confusing, but the solution is as obvious as the text itself. Just go in the directions the words dictate. They make it through the maze and make it through the dungeon. Eventually, they reach another white room with only a Tori, a Shinto shrine gate arc. Moments later, they teleport somewhere else and arrive in a new area that looks like a completely run-down and dilapidated town. The ground is covered in trash and scrap metal, scattered streetlights, some barely functioning, dirty buildings covered in strange text and graphics, and some destroyed parts of buildings floating listlessly in the sky while the whole area is bathed in a permanent sunset. But Kite and his party aren't the only occupants here. The denizens are some of the strangest characters they've encountered thus far. A short figure with a small CRT TV with a digital face for a head sits in a fetal position. Two characters stand with their arms crossed while wearing tattered striped clothes and have simple emojis as heads. A two-dimensional character in the form of a Japanese zombie, a tall humanoid robot with one leg supporting itself with a pipe as a makeshift cane, and more characters similar to Playered and Sheraton. This is a very bizarre place. This is Netslum. Though, to the citizens, this place is their paradise. Interestingly enough, the names of all the denizens are names from the characters in the epitaph. The party searches through the town and tries to consult the people about Helba.
Are you looking for Helba?
Yes.
It so happens I briefly heard from her recently. The epitaph of Twilight. To sum it up in a nutshell, it is a tale. Or to elaborate further, it is a saga that recounts how the Age of the Spirits came to an end.
The tale of an end?
Indeed. However, the texts are scattered. Even if found, they are extremely difficult to comprehend. Yes, it'll be a very tricky business.
Say, there's something that's been bothering me. The people around here, they all look so different from anybody I've seen anywhere else.
This place was once where all of the unsuccessful non-player characters drifted. Sort of a sanctuary for failures. Then, players who considered them amusing came up with their own variations of failed characters. Now, the boundary between player and non-player characters is quite indistinct. Some of them simply don't know which category they fall into. There are, maybe, even those who have lost their bodies on the outside. Mere memories, faded reminders of the individuals they once were. Only their character data remains intact and active as they wander the network. Yes, the same fate as Harold.
Harold?
I must speak with Morgana to go where she is. The living flesh poses a hindrance, but I must go for our aura. Emma, please give me a little more courage. Hear the words of the creator of this world, Harold Hewick. Well, you wanted to see me? Epitaph of Twilight. Both of you have succeeded in reaching it as well, I see. Oh, look! We have an unusual and unexpected guest. As a representative of Net Slum, I greet you. Welcome to paradise.
Huh? Ball Monk.
You sided with Leos, I see. You cracked easily for someone who was so sure of himself.
Don't judge, I'm not like you!
Stalking the boy is shameful behavior. You've disgraced the name of the descendant of Fianna.
What? Ball Monk? You used us?
It was necessary. To restore order.
Order? There's an order that the world desires, and then there's the order that you desire. Which form should it take, Ball Monk?
The order that I desire, of course.
Our featured performer. Now all the actors have assembled.
Quit your yapping, woman. You are entities that unquestionably pose a grave threat to this world. I'll delete you all! What did you do?
I haven't done anything. This is her doing. It would appear that she doesn't care for us very much.
Her?
Yes. In other words, this world itself.
A leaf?
Kite, Black Rose, and Mistrail versus Magus, the Propagation. It's a tough fight, especially when it comes to avoiding Magus's numerous explosive leaves. If they don't destroy them all and let them go off instead, it would kill the whole party instantly. Eventually, Kite succeeds in data draining it, and the party succeeds in destroying it completely. 3 down, 5 more to go.
Let's go. We'll head back to town.
What the hell happened? You're kidding me, right?
Maybe this was a turning point. The relationship between me and the game, the world, has gone beyond pure amusement. And it was spreading beyond the network.
It's only been 2 months since all of this started, and they've been through so much. But now what? What do they do now?